So, at some point during those 2 days, probably later in the evening, Yukine would have come to Tiki and told him, "You two need to talk." Um, I imagine this would probably be like around the campfire, something.
I have one of their tents.
One of their
maybe around the
tents?
campfire if it's cold enough.
Okay.
There's actually been a little bit of a heat wave. But the forest is cool,
not
so
at
it's
the
pleasant.
campfire then.
Okay, we'll do it by one of their tents then. Probably yours, since it's the most isolated.
Yeah.
Yukine would sit down and prompt you to do the same, because it seems like this is gonna be a bit of a long one.
Tiki will sit.
We've been traveling together for a while now, and sorry, I gotta get his voice. We've been traveling together for a while now, and we've learned a decent bit about what each other can do, what all of us can do.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of what I've seen I've been okay with. There have been some things I've seen that I've held my tongue for, because I know that you have good intentions, and I don't think you'll use them for anything bad. I want to start this off by asking you a question. I want you to answer me seriously. What are your intentions with Legion?
Merely Tiki's kind of apprehensive on the subject.
He holds your eye. He holds eye contact.
Well, is difficult, hard question. At least to internalize with Tiki, because there are the benefits that the Legion brings to the group in general. More natural immunity and physical benefits for myself, and some of their properties have been co-opted for use with some of Tiki's medical usage. Particularly with their creation application of mutagens. As for what the long-term usage of Legion is, the intent is to have it until it can be separated. It can be separated amicably from each other.
Do you intend to separate from it one day?
Because apprehensive of, because he is apprehensive and generally concerned about the long-term effects of being host of Legion, with the noticed behavioral aspects of Legion that might mess with mental well-being of Tiki and the rest of the group.
I have noticed that when you transform, you tend to become more wild, feral.
Was one of was noticed, and not entirely sure whether that is deliberate on Tiki's on my part, or if that is a latent tapping into own primal instincts as being not entirely human, be more rat in biological nature, or if that is some of the aspects of Legion coming to the forefront and acting out and giving time to proper term would possibly be let loose or be free.
Can you communicate with it? Maybe
There's
ask it.
amicable agreement that Tiki is the one that leads the Legion, and that they are the ones that have control. But not entirely sure what the lengths of the control actually are.
Maybe ask for clarification on those terms
Mm-hmm.
I'd hate for you to lose yourself. Anyway, it's good that you intend to go of it one day. I learned some things about it that I thought might be good for you to know.
Oh, that would be very much good to know, as has not had the mental courage to ask Legion themselves of the entirety of their history and such.
They most likely wouldn't be able to tell you all of it in any amount of time that you have to listen, but I can give you something to ask about. You know what Legion is?
Not natural. Not of this plane, if memory is correct.
Legion is... You're correct. Legion is not natural, and is not of any plane, from what I understand. The closest thing would be, for a long time, they lay in the chaos. Do you know what that is?
Yes. You don't know how you know, but yes, you are aware.
So, just to give a
You-
brief thing for Sweat. Oh, sorry.
So, you are unsure, Tiki, how you know, but you are aware what the chaos is. The chaos, at least as you would have it in your head, is the beginning, the cradle of all things. And that strikes you as odd as you as you think that, and then you're like, wait a second, how do I know this? Concerning.
Because he doesn't think you'd know, he's going to explain. Chaos is a place that no mortal has ever come back from and been able to tell the tale, at the very least. The Chaos is, and I only learned this recently, the Chaos is the place where everything that didn't belong on the outer planes or the inner planes was placed when everything was created. And Legion was part of the group of creatures that created almost everything. The reason that Legion is not natural is because Legion was there before nature itself.
Nodding.
Legion came before the gods, and throughout their long life, they've been used by many beings, but from what I understand, they don't.
Not
That
been
is
used by many beings.
no. Sorry,
They've
they've been used by the other
No.
beings.
Yep, there you go.
They've been used
Yes,
by the other
yeah.
beings that created everything, but they don't care too much, at least from what I've heard. They only care about two things: growing their army and existing, testing their army.
Distant footsteps of marching.
They're incredibly dangerous should they be allowed to grow unchecked. But in order to grow to what it once was, it would need to consume entire worlds. So for now, it is of no threat to our world. But one day it will become as such. And so one day, when you part from it, you need to send it back to the chaos.
Oh, the scales have fallen Ticky's eyes again.
What'd you say?
Oh, just that. Just another way of saying the tables have turned.
I didn't hear what you said.
Specifically, the scales have fallen from Ticky's eyes.
Ah, okay.
Funny enough, Tiki, when you talked with them, they wanted to go back to the chaos anyway, so
Works out!
Mhm. They mentioned that they do have the desire to return to the chaos and be one with it, but they've also mentioned a deep anger, spitefulness, hatred of Dr. Frankenstein and what they've been through because of them.
Dr. Frankenstein is the one that... No, Francesco is the one that made you. What's your connection to Dr. Frankenstein?
Yes, they are.
What is your connection to Dr. Frankenstein?
Well, like you said, was Dr. Francesca's birth parent, so may have met them from time to time, but not really close knowing of them.
They do to Legion.
Tiki does not know.
Also, Tiki, as Dr. Frankenstein is brought up, and you're remembering that your time with them, I'd like you to what would you say this role is to repress bad memories? What save or check would you say this would be?
I'd say intelligence saving throw.
Intelligence save?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you say I'll let you make an intelligence save.
Or
Yukine, as he heard about, like, it has a great spitefulness toward this individual, looks alarmed. I just want to put that out there.
yeah.
An army
Yeah,
of people.
because for
hating
what
one
he heard,
individual.
this creature is very neutral. It doesn't really care about much. It just wants to grow its army and exist. And if it has a
Except when it comes to
grudge,
Frankenstein.
yeah, if it has a grudge, that's big.
Yeah. So, would you say a 17 is enough to repress some of the worst of Frankenstein's experiments that you were present for? I'll let you decide if that's enough.
I'd say that'd be succeeding on, being distant to that. But I'm just thinking in terms of proximity. If it's like immediate proximity of like literally being next to him, no. But if like,
Okay.
being say in the same, medical theater or being within close-ish proximity, that'd be, I'd say that's it.
Okay. So, Tiki, you don't
It'd be
have
like first
many...
hand, second hand. It's a second hand.
Okay. So you'd say that you'd succeed with, like, if you had second hand, but there was ever a first hand account of you and them working together, you would fail at that point.
Yes.
Okay. So, Tiki, it did not happen very often because he viewed you as just another homunculi, another helper created to work alongside. There was no love between you and him. Francesca loved you. But when there was a time where you happened to be the one and Francesca was dealing with stability issues, we're going to call it, she was not there to tell you to go elsewhere and to usher one of the other creations of his to come and help instead of you. So he ordered you to come over and help him with one of his projects. To this day, it is, as a doctor whose entire goal in life is to heal people, the maybe 2 hours that you spent is something that the screams that you heard will never leave your mind. And even though the creature, at least as he would say, they were brain dead. Like, it was only their body that was reacting. They were screaming because the nerve endings were firing and, but there was no soul. There was no anything of that nature. It still doesn't stop the idea that it's like your job is to heal people, and this was not that. Your goal in life is to heal, to aid. What he did was for the sake of science and helping, but he often cared very little about the methods to reach such lofty goals. And it just sends a shiver down your spine remembering those just 2 hours of this before he eventually, seemingly out of annoyance, just removed their vocal cords so he didn't have to listen to them screaming.
Tiki does not bring up this part.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I've worked with Dr. Frankenstein in the past, but never enough to form a meaningful professional relationship.
I think you know, if a creature like Legion has a grudge against this individual, they have done something personally unforgivable toward them. That, or they have disobeyed the laws of creation itself. I don't know what those are, so I can't really say. Well, even then, from what I understand, Legion doesn't really care. But it'd be a good idea to look out for anything involving this Dr. Frankenstein. Because if Legion does have this grudge against them, that is not an easy feat to do. That is not an easy ire to attain. They may one day come back from the chaos to seek their revenge. If he's still alive, that is. Or if they're still alive, that is.
Tiki, when he says if he's still alive, I don't know how you would particularly react to it, but somebody in your position would just know, almost like a chuckle of, he'll be alive. Whether you would chuckle at it or shiver or whatnot, you know what he was working on, and he'll be alive.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the entire like 60 or something or more years of your life, he didn't seemingly age.
Ah, I see. Are you gonna say anything about that, or should I continue?
Yeah, let's continue.
Okay. Maybe talk to Legion at some point about their plans regarding that individual. See if you can figure out if there's any intent for revenge. Yukina actually looks a bit nervous. Like, since the... Oh wait, I already said that. since the thing with the grudge came up, he actually looked a bit nervous, because it's like, oh fuck. This thing has a grudge. Ooh. He exhales, goes... Now to... something else I was meaning to talk to you about.
Oh, yes. If I would be thinking would be offering services to possibly help with some of Rain's physical ailments, particularly with the missing ribs. And all the other things that they have their problem with that he could fix, apart from the grafted limbs.
Eye. She is missing an
She's
eye.
missing an eye. She's missing a...
The rest is mostly cosmetic,
Yeah.
but functionally, eye and rib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Her fingers have already been replaced, and her leg and arm has. It's mostly her ribs and her eye.
Mm-hmm. With
Excuse me.
some practical application of some surgical science might be able to replace Rain's missing rib bones and one of their missing eye. Mm-hmm.
That would be incredibly useful, but I'm sure she'd be happy to have those back. But first, I feel the need to ask you some questions.
Oh, of course. Some medical concerns, no doubt.
Partially. Why did you harvest the Nosferatu vampires? The Nosferatu... Fuck, what was it called? Felder. Nosferatu Felders. Marrow, I think you said.
Yes, the marrow of the creature. Mostly so that could see some if the source of vampirism can be traced to the bone marrow, and possibly find some way to create a cure for vampirism and other such diseases, and possibly maybe was just out of scientific curiosity to see if Dickie could do that. Could successfully properly extract bone marrow from creatures such as Nosferatu Feldar.
My fear was that you intended to graft that into someone, as you've mentioned with the troll and a number of other creatures. I don't believe that would be wise. But since you don't intend to, I don't think I have to worry.
Well, may serve as inoculation to vampirism as a disease in general. Might also be having bad, chaotic, disastrous results if were to implement the regenerative marrow into a subject.
My other concerns mainly lie in, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, your grafting. I actually wrote up a little thing for this so I didn't forget. I will make my stance perfectly clear. But I've stayed silent until now, hopes of not rocking our early partnership. But I feel it's time to address this. I don't approve of the methods you use, from inserting those mutagens into people to strengthen them, or the surgeries and transformations you've on numerous times brought up or suggested. I view it as unnatural, and to me it's repulsive. But I understand you have good intentions. That's what just a minute ago you brought up this method as a way to give Rain back some of her freedom.
Oh no, not using the vampire marrow
Not
Rain
the
to
vampire.
gain those part backs.
I'm speaking in terms of the grafting procedure in general. I don't object to their use as a rule, because again, I believe you do have good intentions. But some of the things you speak of are revolting to me. The troll, the mention of the regenerative properties of the troll's bone marrow being planted into someone feels like it could very easily end in disaster. And it doesn't sound like you had really questioned that at all. And there have been other times where you have brought this up. I have held my tongue. But I believe if you are going to continue this, and if you are going, which I don't imagine you intend to stop, as you're incredibly skilled in it, and I think you can help a great many people with it. I advise more caution than I have seen from you so far. Supernatural creatures, unnatural creatures, and the natural creatures. They all could have wildly varying effects on a person if you were to simply craft a part of them onto someone.
Possibility exists, yes, but there's also the possibility that nothing could happen.
That is a foolishly optimistic view on it. At the very least, I want you to exercise more caution and research a bit more before you decide to implant things in people.
Hey, Tiki.
Hmm.
You remember Stein and the monsters he created, testing the limits, testing what could be done, not asking what should be done. But at the same time, you learned a lot. You learned a lot about the surgeries, the experiments. You know a lot about what is possible and what should and shouldn't go into people. It's been a long time since you've done it, but you still remember a lot of it. Being told this, I mean, you know what you're doing, don't you? I mean, Stein did it, although many of his subjects, they failed in different ways and turned into monsters. But you can avoid that. You're not Stein.
I understand the moral and quandaries of the grafting and performing the mutagens on surgeries on people, but you would have my solemn oath that this is I have learned from other people's mistakes on what can and cannot be done, and I have the experience and knowledge that I will prevail in these matters. I suggest that since you put faith in the natural order of things, perhaps give some faith to the scientific method, and to pray to your doctor rather than to nature taking its course.
Try to put a bit of trust in you. But before I can, with what I've seen, I need you to answer one question. You say you've trained with this a lot, you've learned much. In that case, what would have happened had you inserted that troll marrow into someone? The marrow of a creature, of a mutated troll, in fact, that had grown extra limbs. What would have happened?
As part of the procedure, it would not be a full-on re-administering of the pool's bone marrow into the recipient's system. It would be a watering down, downgrading enough so that it does not go fully manic wild into the recipient's own regenerative capabilities. So it will only be minor regenerative capabilities, not full-on catastrophic regeneration or generation of benign limbs and such.
That is absolutely correct. However, you do know that there's the risk, if not performed correctly or if not watered down enough, that it could lead to the individual gaining other troll-like features. But that's something that you could solve, most likely, if you catch it early enough.
So there's
whether you tell him that or not, that's up to you.
There is always the risk that some unexpected things will happen during the surgery. Perhaps if the procedure does not go well enough, or if some symptoms are not caught early enough, then perhaps some benign mutations may occur. That is the risk of any basic procedure. If the conditions are met, that some bad things may happen, but most of the time they do not go through because of proper maintenance of health and safety standards.
Okay. So, do you know the proper amount? Rather, he would say, can you tell me the proper percentage that you would be reducing it by? In order to guarantee these side effects don't occur?
Would not be a full 1-to-1 replacement of bone marrow. It would only be enough. Say, to quantify.
You can give him a number. However, just it depends on how honest you want to be, because it is not a perfect process, because the strength of the individual and their genes does play a factor. But to average it out, you can give him a proper percentage.
Given the subject's own metabolism and other genetic factors, the base number may vary. But in general, the ratio to bone troll to normal recipient marrow would only be about 25%.
So, Sevi, from my knowledge of these supernatural creatures and of my limited medical training, this sounds like mixing blood types to me.
I'm gonna be real. You can't even roll for this type of information.
Makes sense.
Like, he's giving you information that you look at and you're like, I can't verify.
I figured, but I wanted to try, Hail Mary.
He very much believes everything he's saying, and Tiki, 25% would be on the high end to get them the best possible results with like under best circumstances. It'd probably be a little bit lower, but 25% would be you pushing it to give them the best results from this, which
Okay.
for combat purposes probably, you know, what you're going for.
Mhm.
So,
But yeah,
so
go for it.
when doing this, is this for a normal troll or the troll that we were fighting? 'Cause again, it was a troll with mutations of extra limbs, which to me,
Given the standard
actually, I'm
practice,
gonna roll intelligence.
given the standard template, they would find a troll and in proper circumstances, taking into account the added mutations of the extra arms, and I would say that the outcome would have been different if that ratio was used with the current specimen of mutated troll marrow. If that were the case, then the percentage would be brought down significantly. Lots of outlying factor effects go into the grafting and surgical process.
Good. Then, one last concern, mine. And I will, in the future, be bringing up these concerns as they occur. Have you considered the social ramifications of some of these graphs that you and the others have talked about? In a continent plagued by monsters, a place where people live in fear, more often than not. Do you think that attaching, say, a third arm to an already quite intimidating tiefling who, to strangers' knowledge, is connected to the very demons that plague them, is a good idea? Do you think we can be heroes like that?
Yes. Because they are not.
Also,
Because we are
Vicky?
not the standard.
Go ahead and roll you're a very calm, collected individual most times, right? Like, when it comes to, like, emotional outburst.
Which one?
Anger.
No, who?
You.
Oh. Yeah, mostly calm, collected.
Okay. What would you say would be the role to not get angry at some of the things that you've seen when you were making your way to Stygia after losing Francesca?
Oh
I
shit.
want to say wisdom.
Wisdom? Make a wisdom save. To keep your cool and not get angry.
Ooh. I have a fate point.
You might want to save that
You
for the
really wanna
upcoming
use
fight.
it?
We have a boss fight next session.
Fair.
So Tiki,
It's also
Make
up to
sure-
you, buddy.
it's also up to you.
It is.
If you don't want to have him be angry in this moment. But
now let's slide.
landslide? Okay. Tiki, as he says that, as you mentioned, no, because we're not the standard, there's a bit of this, like, almost gripping, like, your thigh, as you remember those, it took you almost 2 years to make it to Stygia. A trip that you know, that now at your current strength and with the people that you're around, you could probably make in a matter of months. Took you 2 years. It was so hard to find people who would accept you and not treat you like a monster. And they didn't even know what you were. And that it wasn't always that. It was just sometimes it was you would try to help. And you trying to help, there would be some people who would accept your help with open arms, kind people. And then there were others. Those who regardless if all you were doing was applying basic medical knowledge and a little bit of the magic plants that you had seen used, they would still look at the side effects or the things that you would do as if they would as if you were the cause of what ailed them, rather than giving you a chance to fix minor mistakes. It was just you tried to help and the person was better, but there were certain little things that you could fix, you could make better, you could help, but they wouldn't let you. There were rare occasions where you actually were able to, where situations were bad and person dying of infection, and you would amputate to save the person's life over limb. You are a doctor and saving someone's life is important. So you sacrifice their limb and replace it with donor. Still, something, reasonable. Perhaps donor from individual that you could use, that skin tone may be different, but it still work. It works well, it fits, and you could make it so this would give them the ability to live more, to live without any problem. But they would take the person that you saved as if they were some kind of monster and hurt them, and they would try to catch you. Some people, not all, but some people will see things as monsters, whether there actually are or not. You've learned since then a lot about the outside and how to handle these things better. And in Stygia, you were able to be amongst people who didn't judge and accepted your medicine, accepted your procedures. Regardless, they just saw you as helping. But there is that bit of anger of remembering the people who died when you were just trying to help them. The people who tried to hunt you when you were just trying to help them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, you are not the norm. You are not the monsters.
No. We are not. People look at us as monsters because we're different, but so what? We are different. Everybody is different. There is no one that's the same, or similar, or there is no special. We have to be who we are. If we have to accept each other's differences, whether or not it's because of maybe monsters or what people perceive them as to their own to their ignorance. Yes, ignorance. They don't know things. They will know better.
I was not expecting Haunted One to activate in this talk. Fuck. Okay. As you say what you're saying, you see Ikane's eyes, you see the light leave them for a moment. You see them go dark. These people are not concerned with being kind, Tiki. They are concerned with surviving. Whether we are or not, the more of a rarity we make ourselves, the more they will fear, or in some cases, desire us. You, I don't think, have ever seen this look on his face.
People see monsters everywhere because they do not know what the real monsters are. Ignorance. They don't know no better.
No.
So what if someone has leg replaced with someone of different biological makeup, or if someone has to have eye replaced with elf eye because it's all they have, it's all they can find. But does that matter? They are living, they are healthy, and they will continue to live and not suffer the ill effects of not being. They will live better, healthier lives.
Yes, and in cases like those, I think that's a great thing. However, you have to remember, the people of Lunarvum are afraid. They live in a world where they can die any day. And there would be mourning. But their loved ones have to move on in order to survive. It's not right. This place is cruel, and it's made them cruel.
Well, then
Whether you do or
we
not.
will be the kindness that helps them. The monsters they see will be the monsters that bring kindness.
Hey, because Haunted One activated, Bud, I'm just gonna say, when he says that, the glass gets very chilly, and it's almost like this beautiful kind of it almost warms your cold heart, like you're like that like pit, but it also hurts, because man, that really lands right where you would have been years ago.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's almost like a thing of like, God, you're innocent.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, man, those words hit your heart right where that innocence used to be.
There is a deep, in response to that, Sevi, there is a deep sadness and almost pity as he's looking at this glass. He does not approach it. Regardless of what you do, I simply ask that before you make any decisions like that, you consider the ramifications of what it will be seen like. Leon is part of a family that is seen in two ways. They are seen as heroes who fight against the monsters, and they are seen as traitors who failed to kill them. And should he be seen as a monster himself, more and more people will view him as someone who, rather than simply failing to kill the monsters, he has become one. Yoparai is an individual who has already seen much discrimination throughout his life due to people labeling him monster adjacent. If you push him over that edge that people are willing to even tolerate, there could be drastic issues. And myself, I don't plan on taking you up in any of your surgeries. Due to personal belief, I believe it's unnatural. And while I don't object to its use in general, I will not be partaking of it myself. And I'd like to ask for that contract back. He seems sad as he's saying this. Like, his eyes are still the same as they were, but there's a slight frown to his face.
It's completely understandable that you would not wish to partake in some of the extreme surgeries that may seem cosmetic or might seem a bit overblown and or unnecessary, but I'm afraid I will not give you back your contract because there might be surgeries where the only thing we have on hand is something that may be deemed as monstrous as what we can salvage. Well, I will not force on you some of the extra overblown possible surgeries. I wish you would keep in mind that in a pinch, if we do not have the things that we need to save an arm or stave off an infection, and all we have is something that might be deemed monstrous by some people, that you will have to accept them, regardless of the circumstances or the social.
Should a
Social
scenario
problems.
like that arise, I'd like you to wait. If you need to amputate the limb, feel free. If it's necessary, I understand. But before you decide to graft anything, you can simply wait till I'm awake to give my consent or not. Nothing will change, whether I'm unconscious with a limb or not. I can make the decision myself when I wake up.
If concern is that it sounds like more of an ignorant concept of taking will go overboard, so because there's the option, and that since there's an option and you are not able to object, that they will take it. No, I am not like that.
No,
I am not Frankenstein, and
my
I will not
concern
take
is
that.
not that you will go overboard. My concern is the procedure itself. Again, I don't personally approve of it. And I would rather not wake up from a few days unconscious with an entirely different limb and none of the ability to choose whether I want it.
There might be a situation where that has to be called for.
I believe it would not make much difference if you were to ask for my consent once I was awake or not.
The human body, or the body of.
If he is referring to a limb, he is technically correct, Tiki. You cannot deny that. However, if it is an organ, a one necessary for survival, similar to what's happening to
This is why he specified a limb.
in the case of of augmented limb surgery, then of course that is the standard practice. The standard practice of waiting until the recipient is awake and fully conscious to no other options before a seizure can proceed. But should be the case of needing the necessary organs that need to be replaced, then I am afraid that the surgery will have to go without your consent or not.
Then I will give you verbal consent to, if my life is in danger and you need to perform that surgery, I will allow it. But I do not feel the need for that contract to be in place for that. I can put my trust in you as a doctor if my life is in danger without that. When I first got out of that lab, I was blinded by, I guess you'd call it, beauty of the outside world after so long. I signed that when I was in a state where I wasn't thinking. And it's something I'd like to rescind.
Tiki just nods solemnly. You were not in a sound of right mind to sign that. That's pretty understandable. Yes, of course. You would just rummage around his belongings and find the send forms for that, and you can take these back. I will consult you at a later date to have proper signature when you are of sound mind and body to give consent.
He will nod and take the contract. Thank you. I grew up in the deep wood, and I should have known. I should have been more cautious when signing a contract like that. Something that was instilled in me since the day I was born, to not carelessly sign something like this or agree to something like this.
And the blame also will partly fall upon Tiki for forcing contract so unwillingly, or
You are not
unwillingly.
to blame at all. You simply asked once and I agreed. Do not take this upon yourself. I ask for it in such a forceful manner because it is of great importance that I don't have a contract which I did not intend to sign. Again, I grew up around Fae, and doing something like that is a way to ruin your life very quickly. In the future, feel free to approach me with conditions for a contract similar to this, but for now, I am thankful that you've given this back. You've allowed me to rectify a mistake. Had it been anyone else, could have ruined many things.
We'll offer a hand to shake.
I'll shake his hand.
Glad to have come to mutual agreement, understanding.
And again, if you need to save my life, you do have my verbal consent.
But
But
we'll, in
know
future
that
date,
when I
need your written consent for the
No.
records.
Know that when I wake up, I will most likely want to seek out an alternative method when it's available.
Mhm. With possibly given proper equipment, might be able to possibly even regrow some parts that have been damaged or destroyed. I've heard of certain alchemical creations that allow for regrowth of lost limbs in dire circumstance.
Would be good to research. He kind of shakes himself, and you see the light slowly start to return to his eyes.
He does kind of lean forward a little bit. You do see he's kind of he's sort of squinting his eyes in a sort of inquisitive expression. Have you always experienced symptoms of dissociating like that?
Dissociating?
Yes, when your mind leaves the present moment and acting mostly on instinct and not taking full consideration for your actions and just mentally leaving a situation.
Is that what just happened, Sebi?
Entirely, but he wouldn't be wrong. I was actually just about to ask him to roll a medicine check for against a deception check.
Okay.
Or against your passive deception.
Passive deception is 11.
11?
Okay. And with medicine?
Yep. Roll a medicine check against him.
Okay. With intelligence?
Of course.
Okay. 14.
14. To put it bluntly, he needs therapy. To put it bluntly, to add a little bit of delicacy to that, there are telltale signs that he, and this is purely from a medical standpoint, you could roll an insight check if you'd like, to see what else you get from this.
Sure, I'll give it a try.
11? Okay. So, purely from a medical standpoint, let's take this on the mechanical level. Haunted One usually denotes the idea that an individual, just through the passive insight of people around you, as they look into your eyes, they can tell that you've been through something harrowing, something that pulls the light from your eyes. From a medical point of view, this would be considered post-traumatic stress, extreme post-traumatic stress that doesn't lend itself to being, say, more, it doesn't create hallucinations or recreations of the event. So it is not to the point where it creates this effect that the person is hallucinating or things of that nature, or reliving rather those events. They are not reliving those events in a way that is very vivid and in the moment, but with his Haunted One feature, you would look at that and it would basically be PTSD.
It's extreme
A form of
PTSD.
PTSD. Yeah, it's extreme PTSD, that it's to the point where other people just looking at them can tell and usually, not always, but usually will feel some sort of empathy towards this. So that's what, from a medical standpoint, what you would be able to tell there. However, him dissociating, there are times where where you have noticed Yukine will stop and just sit and think, and he gets sad just sitting and thinking. And you haven't really been able to explain them. And it's been something you've really seen only in passing, but getting to actually speak with him in a prolonged conversation like this and getting to see it firsthand, he needs therapy. Not just for the extreme PTSD, but also for the to just work through some of the bits of sadness that just almost like depression. They're more melancholy than just being sad. And with your 11, you do pick up one piece of information. While you don't get a lot, you do pick up one piece of information with your 11. Some of his symptoms might be tied back to when he mentioned something along the lines of, "You are not responsible for this at all." You're not entirely sure, but like that feels like a relevant statement. How you were, be it through politeness or through legitimately feeling as if you had done something. He was very quick to basically, it's like, no, it was me. So it's something that's like, it's hard for you to put a pin in, but it's like you're able to pick up a few things from your time with him mixed with what you just witnessed.
His answer to your question is no, about the dissociative stuff.
Yeah, but usually there are some conditions that cause some symptoms that cause dissociation from certain individuals that may have experienced traumatic events in their lives at some point or another. But it seemed that possibly this is just a medical observation, that possibly this was from a previous event, and that you are not hallucinating or seeing yourself in the previous situation that caused the stressful situation that caused this, and more it's feeling of melancholy and just perhaps, try to internalize anxiety speak / rat speak while trying to proper words to articulate it. But the condition itself is.
You're trying to spout off medical theories in the voice of someone who speaks in broken English.
It is honestly impressive.
It's like in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, there were the imaginary friends that were created basically by people with by like toddlers, where they're just scribbles. It's trying to manage that.
It's like, how do I say this? Okay. Now, looping it around. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, he's basically just gonna more or less blah the whole thing of, you appear to be suffering PTSD, but you're not hallucinating that you were there.
I think I've been given this diagnosis before, have I not, Seppi?
By the people in the lab?
Yeah.
less because the individual's already new. So it's less of a diagnosis you've been given in the lab. It's more just something that they knew, and we're like, we're not gonna bring certain things up. Hearing it in this medical, in a medical way, it makes it all seem so simple. What you're facing, and then you remember. Every time you're trying to face it, you're trying to confront
The
it.
countless hours that he has spent trying to face this.
And how, in trying to face it, you have had moments where you've vividly remembered and relived those moments.
Quite a few, in fact.
It's you didn't know there was a medical term or anything for this, so hearing a doctor say this, I'm gonna leave up to you whether it brings you comfort that, okay, I'm not just weak or crazy or something like this, but like this is an actual thing. Or whether it just, or how you take it. I'm gonna leave you to decide whether it frustrates you, belittles or makes you feel comfort knowing that this is an actual medical condition. But Tiki speaks about it from purely medical standpoint and is able to touch on things that you have experienced firsthand, and it's the first time.
Let me roll something.
Like,
I know how he's gonna take it, because this pertains to a flaw of his. But... That's a 7? Okay.
Not well, I expect.
You notice you notice his jaw kind of tighten, and you notice his fists in his lap kind of clench. He seems... It doesn't seem like he's angry. Like he's looking at you like he's angry, but like he looks down at his lap, and he seems frustrated by this information. Then he quickly unclenches his fist and checks his hand. And you can actually see little marks along his palm that look like they were about to draw blood. It's not hard to tell. Those probably came from his claws, because he does have claws. It's not often mentioned, but he does have claws.
Yep.
And then puts his hands back on his... He puts them on his legs. Thank you for the diagnosis.
Oh, that is just not an official diagnosis, more of a observation judgment call. May not be actually the case, but might be something to work to internalize or look into.
Oh. You're correct. Again, he seems frustrated by this. But he takes a breath, exhales. There was one more thing that I wanted to ask you.
What was it that you were wishing to ask?
Oh.
I, with a tear in my eye.
That's
I
so
begged.
awful.
With
Oh.
a tear in my eye, Chiro, I beg. It's
Oh.
your resource. Please.
I see that roll.
Oh my god. Fucking Christ, that could not be worse.
Is that a That's a wisdom
That's a wisdom save, yeah.
With a tear in my eye, I
Sebi, I
beg.
have a boss fight next session, and this is giving me another fate point. I don't know what you want from me.
You don't. You. Fine, you guys will talk again sometime.
Repeat that.
It's fine. You guys will talk again sometime.
Sweats, I think all our progress is about to go down the drain.
Not about to go all down the drain. It's just
They were
Sebi got
about-
excited
they were-
for something that might have happened. And
He might have
in real
just,
time,
like,
their heart was crushed.
because they might have just jumped and had like, oh my god, this could have been a great moment of, oh my god, are they about to bond? Or is he about to ask him for help? Oh my goodness. Oh. My heart.
What's worse about this?
No.
So now.
Why is that
So-
worse?
Vicky. His eyes cloud over again.
Oh,
And he is going to continue to ask you his question. There's something I've been doing recently. And some interest in, and something I'm doing to prepare for the future, prepare my circle members for the future. He will pull out a book that you've seen him write in quite frequently. And he will show you the page for a page on the arc spores. Debbie, do you mind describing what his impression of it is?
So, this is information that is very complete. I mean, it could use a little bit of. It could. I mean, for the medical side, it could probably use a thing or two. But I mean, as far as like, if you were to look at this, you would pretty much have a good idea. If you were to fight the arc spores yourself, you would have a pretty good idea of what to look for, what to do, and how to and you'd have an understanding of like their biology. In a lot of ways, reading this book, Tiki, gives you certain feelings of like a field researcher's notes, rather than the very warrior kind of vibe that you've gotten from Yukine. These are almost like field research notes.
And he does hand the book to you for you to read over, and he'll continue.
he begins looking it over as you talk.
I'm intending to keep these notes for the creatures that we face, as well as creatures that we learn about. and pass them down to my circle in the future. That way, part of their education will be preparing them for the threats they'll have to face in the future. Or they'll potentially have to face in the future. They can consult it before they go on missions, such. Obviously, it'll need to be rewritten at some point, because these are just things I've written down while on the road, but I intend to continue this for most things that we meet and are able to actually investigate. And part of that has been the term is postmortem.
Postmortem examinations. Dissections. Would actually be very beneficial for the rest of the group if we collaborate notes on such field research.
I haven't put it to much use. Fucking sorry, I heard that and my brain went, of course, you have been! What are you talking about?
Nothing, I'm just gonna be quiet, sorry. I'm gonna mute.
I was trained for part of my life as a healer. I never completed it or even started my apprenticeship proper. But I have some knowledge, and I know much of nature and its denizens. Sometimes I don't quite know where the information comes from. It doesn't change what I've been doing. I was hoping to ask for your aid, since you already tend to harvest the creatures we come across. If you could, before you harvest, if you could aid me with these examinations, and perhaps allow me to learn a bit from how you work.
It would seem that we could both mutually symbiotically learn from these research notes and collaborating our efforts together. Perhaps, since you have the desire to grow as a healer, perhaps might be able to teach you some ways of medical science to aid in your healing studies.
He nods.
I am a licensed medical practitioner. A licensed medical practitioner could take you as an apprentice.
He looks surprised.
Reroll? Please?
If I can keep the fate point, I'll reroll.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not a matter of the one was one roll. This is another.
Okay. I will give a reroll.
Makusa.
It's the new Nat 1.
You could use the fate point you just got. You could go into that fight with what you had.
Or,
come on.
And hear me out, if you want this badly, and this individual wants this badly. You could have the glaive try to give him advantage somehow.
The glaive isn't.
Just say, it feels like they would have a lot of investment in this particular save. I'm just saying.
They can't influence like that. It's not how
They
it
are
works.
connected to him spiritually. So maybe
It's not how it
Sebi, hold on. Let me pitch.
Let him go.
Let me pitch. No, let me pitch.
Okay, all right, you know what? Go ahead. Pitch your idea. I'm just saying.
I am an individual that is connected very deeply to Mala. They are an individual that is connected to me. They have some very strong feelings at the moment, and I would like to roll luck to see if they can make anything happen.
Okay, with a luck roll.
All right.
I will consider it, but
And
I'm
Sebi?
a real friend.
I would like to expend a lucky point.
Wait, what?
I have 3 lucky points from Christmas.
I will allow you to use those in a luck check, but
Alright.
that's not going to help you just out the gate. You have to still roll.
I
luck.
know.
While this is being rolled, I just want to say I love more than Tiki. I really
Oh.
do.
It's more than Tiki is great. I'm just over here.
I just
scared
love
that
this
he's
talk
gonna
in
do
general.
it.
I'm just here waiting. I'm waiting for Tiki to do the song.
See,
I am
I'm
not.
waiting.
I cannot do that with Tiki's vocal tick.
hey. Remember, as you get seeds of Legion, and as you get higher level, remember, there's a chance that Tiki might start, might start, stuff like might happening. That's up to you. That's up to you, my friend, because as he gets, more of those ASIs, gets more seeds of Legion, it's up to you, friend.
So what I'm hearing is I need to up my charisma if I want to stop stuttering.
No, just your body might undergo changes.
That's 4.
That's 4
4.5.
and 9.
9.
That is kind of lucky.
These by 3, right?
Wait, hold on.
Wait,
Hold on.
no, it's
4
not.
and 9? No, it's not. 4
You're
and
looking
9?
you're looking at the total. It's 4
Yeah.
and 5.
Wait, 4 and 5.
Oh,
okay, yeah,
you're
4
right.
and 5. Yeah,
That's
4 and 5.
2.
That's
2 total.
Okay,
That's 2.
I would like to
So-
use a lucky point to re-roll. What would I be re-rolling here?
Do I do this, friend? Do I do this, friend?
Remind me how luck works in this way.
Look at
You
rule
roll a
changes. to Avot.
D22 minus 1.
A d22 minus 1
Yeah.
and a d10. They are multiplied by each other and then divided by 10 to determine the result, which the results
Which I have a
are...
nifty chart here for.
Yeah, anything below
Hmm.
4.2 is unlucky. Anything below 8.4 is kind of lucky. Anything below 12.6 is pretty lucky. Anything below 16.8 is really
Let
lucky.
me like, you're saying a lot of numbers. Let me just
Okay.
post the chart.
Why y'all got
'Cause I'm gonna
put
be real.
decimals?
Listen, all right, this was very meticulously
Painstakingly
done.
crafted.
I promise it makes sense.
So I'm gonna be real. I have a hard time understanding this chart.
Why y'all gotta make it in decimals?
Listen. Anywho, I'm not gonna let you re-roll with lucky point, but I will let you adjust for every lucky points you spend the D22 up or down for free. You do have
Is
a
it
lucky item.
1-to-1?
Yeah,
Okay.
you do have a lucky item, so
Would-
you could.
You would need to use your lucky item and 1 luck point to get to 0.
Yep. Or you could use a luck
That would
point
be a
and your
weird-
lucky item to. Actually, never mind. That's what, a 4? At a 4 on that? I think it was.
So if I were to use a luck point, a lucky item, that would get to possibly 6 plus, or 6 times 7,
Yeah.
which would be 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. Might as well go down.
You would
Get
need to,
try
you
for
would
the
need to
reroll.
spend 2 luck points just to get out of unlucky.
Yeah, I
Be
will.
real.
I will.
Or
for the
spend
reroll.
1 and reroll.
I will
Yeah.
use my lucky item and a luck point to reroll.
All right. Are you gonna re-roll the D10 and the D22?
I don't think I can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, once you're at 0, you can.
Yeah, but the
You can re-roll
D10
both.
reduced. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can re-roll the
The thing
D22
is,
or
though,
the D10.
you have a 5 on the D10.
Yeah, I think I might just reroll the D22.
I mean, 5 is halfway, but if you get the 1, there's only what 1, 2, 3, 4, or you get the same thing. And if you get like one of the 4 options below, yeah, it's bad. If you get 2, 3, or 4, yeah, you're not doing good. But if you get a 1
He just needs to get 9, or sorry, 10 or above on the D22.
fair enough. You're
Alright.
saying.
Um,
So what are you doing? Both or 1?
I'll do both. I'm gonna regret it, but I'll do both.
I'm
I hope
sending
you
you
don't.
my energy.
Thank you. Can you take the
Hold
torch
on,
for a
hold on.
moment?
Yeah, I'll take the torch.
Yeah.
I'll take
I'm doing this I'm doing this for you, Semi. I hope you know this. You did.
The character development, damn it.
I hope you appreciate this.
Character development.
That is a 19 on the D22. Now let's hope I don't get a 2 on the D10.
Come on,
See?
come on. Yes!
That's
That is
190. That is 19 flat.
That
Hold on.
is damn lucky.
That's damn lucky. Oh my god! Wait, this is the first time I've ever rolled damn lucky.
Now,
Oh.
Wait.
here's the
Oh my
thing,
God.
Cherry, you need to roll that
Is-
percentage.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you need to roll a D100.
And that's actually really bad.
Se-
I have a really
7 or... Hold on, I have the torch. 7 or lower. I know, on a D100, that's a big ask, but...
So for damn lucky, I need to get a 36% or lower.
Wait, were you...
So for damn lucky, for your lucky item, you need to roll a D100.
Yeah.
So you need to hit 36 or lower on the D100 in order to not hurt your item.
I have the
Go ahead.
torch, don't worry.
All right.
Roll your D100.
What?
You lucky fuck. You are...
Thank you, Wolf. Thank you for taking the torch. I'll take it back now.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I'll hold on to it till you're
No,
done this.
no, give it.
No,
Wow.
fine now.
All right. All right. All right. So
What?
give me your pitch one more time.
Yukine is an individual that is deeply connected with Mala. He has 6 Dragoon trances available to him, which is as much as a 20th level Dragoon. He is deeply connected to this. He is spiritually connected, like soul linked, in fact, to his glaive. And his glaive, from what has been said, does understand what's going on around him. And his glaive has some very, very, very passionate feelings toward this particular subject. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right.
And this is a chance
I've
for
heard-
you, Kane, to get help.
I've heard the pitch. I've heard the pitch.
Sorry you got dragged into this, Sweaty, but I'm not at the same time because this is going to be a really good character moment if it happens.
Oh, okay. So the reason why this is very difficult is because of how this works. However, if we look at what this thing can do, technically your glaive absorbs things that are harming you. In this moment, things like poisons. We can, in this moment, rationalize
enough
the
for
negative,
be seen as
the
monsters.
negative feelings that you are putting on yourself and how you are putting yourself down, even in your own mind, as a poison in this case. And that they will absorb some of these negative feelings, these negative emotions, just a bit, to give you a chance to speak freely without the burden of those negative feelings. For the next, I'm gonna say, it's damn lucky. I'm gonna say for the next 10 minutes,
Okay.
you can speak without the burden of these of your self-deprecating feelings.
Part of how I'm going to take this is essentially his glaive, like, shoving him toward the glass, almost. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
Alright. He looks...
Key character development. Let's go.
He looks surprised at your offer to take him as an apprentice. He looks shocked, in fact. Like this had never once... Like the possibility of someone asking him this had never once crossed his mind. Can you repeat that?
The possibility exists that you could take on an apprentice. Teach you the proper application of medical science and use it use it for your own training as a healer. To give you the scientific medical perspective when it comes to healing, give you a better understanding of how things work.
I'd actually really like that. That's what that was my dream when I was a kid. Was to be a healer. Because none of the other stuff seemed like it really worked for me, and I wanted to... I was more interested in helping heal things than shoot a bow. Excuse me. Nikki, all at once, you see the light just rush back into his eyes. And I actually really appreciate that.
Then it will be decided. I will teach you the ways of medical science. You will be my apprentice. But to be warned, I have not taught many individuals, but it will be a worthwhile experience.
I intend to learn many other things on this journey, so I hope to be a good student.
Hmm. And then he just reaches into his
wasn't-
bag and starts pulling out a bunch of books.
I wasn't fully honest
Book.
before
Book.
when you mentioned my diagnosis.
Hmm. Book, text, manuscripts,
I have
another book,
experienced.
another book.
I have experienced what you described before. But it's mostly been moments where specific events have been brought up.
Hmm.
And,
Very much. Sounds like post-traumatic stress disorder. Not a very happy diagnosis. Will require much therapeutic techniques and study.
I mean, do I even know about therapy? I don't think that's a thing back in my village.
Not by that word, no, but there is something akin to it. There is actually something akin to that does happen. It's usually where you are paired with somebody who is an older individual who's usually, they've been around for a while, they've gone through a lot, and you're sent off to go and handle certain things with them. You go basically hunting with a mentor for a while, and the both of you, the idea is that the two of you talk. They help you work through things. It's not therapy by how we would normally call, but it is a method.
It's their method of mental health care kind of thing.
Yeah, but there is a thing for it. Since you've been out here, you've not even saw mention of it with how people out here deal with things. And the guards back home, the closest, well, not the guards back home, the guards back at Magnolia, the closest you'd actually get any idea is they rotate shifts so they can actually spend time with their families. But that was the closest thing.
Yeah,
There's
they
really
just-
no mention of therapy or anything close to that out in Lunarvum from what you've heard. That's something that's really back at your home. And now that Tiki brings it up, holy shit, so something of that nature does exist.
Well, he was about to ask, what's... I guess... I know of the word, but what do you mean by therapy?
It is a form of counseling to help cope with one's mental stresses and possible traumas. Basically, to work out what the problem is, how we can cope and adapt your life to live with it. Sometimes can live with it to the point where there's not much of an issue. Sometimes you will learn to accept the giant dog, but sometimes your dog might not be as big as all. So we'll have to find out more about them if you were to have a better understanding of your condition and how to live with it.
Yukine remembers his promise to his glaive to try to get there, to try to think about himself. And still looking down at his lap, almost shyly. Which you haven't really seen from Yukine, at least, like, blatantly. Like, after knowing him for a bit, you can pretty clearly tell that he is a individual who has trouble expressing himself. And oftentimes that comes in the form of he comes off as more rough than he intends to. He's a tsundere.
Mhm.
But he's never looked this shy. He's normally like covering it up with like other mannerisms, like that throat clearing thing that he did earlier. He just sits down and goes, there's been, it's happened a bit more recently, because I've been trying to, I guess, face what's been going on. As he will pull out his, woodcarver's tools and a almost disc-like unfinished piece of wood, with like carvings to it. Sebi, I will leave it up to you whether it's at all recognizable as what it's eventually going to be right now.
You just got into this new stage. I'm gonna say no, not really. You haven't been able to work on it in the past few days.
Okay. He looks down at it for a moment. I mentioned it before that I eloped with a lover. This is something I learned how to do because I wanted to make a gift for her when we were kids. So, my way of tackling what happened is trying to make a gift for my lover. It's not been going well. Every time I try, I just see, I feel. She's in my arms again. Her hands on my face. You see a tear roll down his cheek as he's just looking down his lap. I can feel something warm below me. Cooling. Pouring.
Slowly
Never
nodding.
leaves.
Well, yes. Well, I may not know the extent of what may have caused this to happen. This can be worked out with proper counseling and such. But Tiki does not not the best when it comes to helping with the not the best when it comes to being a counselor or therapist, more the preparing of medical potions and all that, but Tiki will try his best to help counsel with this sort of with these problems. think of it as apprenticing while also receiving counseling as part of the deal.
He looks almost like he wakes up from what he was seeing. If I'm to seek out counseling, or therapy, as you called it, should I go to Wells? Since she's dealt with individuals on the battlefield.
He's not aware of any other individuals who dealt with such people, so Dicky is not familiar with any other individuals who've dealt with this sort of thing, so possibly go to them as a start.
I'll consult them. I mean, time we have. Thank you. I don't know how to move forward. I want to for the sake of the people that support me. I just don't know how.
Well, moving forward requires you take a first step. And a first step could be reading this book.
As he puts a book in your lap, which does provide a distraction.
I am so sad. He was about to say something big. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he'll let himself be distracted.
Well, he'll just give him a basic medical text. Start with the first chapter or two of this book, and we will review it next time we meet. After dealing with this cult problem, of course. Must be free of distractions if education is to be undergone.
Okay.
And what you can tell is that the manuscripts that you are given, barring one of them, are written by Tiki. Funny enough, some of them aren't written by, but you see notes in the margins. You see papers almost compiled. Most of this is just, they are Tiki's notes rather than a quote-unquote proper medical book. A lot of this is notes done by Tiki, information. It's effectively what he has and can. It's odd. You knew that he was a good doctor, and he says he's not a good teacher since he hasn't really taught before, but he definitely has the knowledge for this field. So, yeah, no, he'd be a good place to learn. And with this, I will actually say, while I was only going to allow you to get half proficiency with Tiki, like over time as you and Tiki work on building your field researcher guide, effectively, I was going to allow you to reach half proficiency at some point. If you and Tiki actually spend time, like with Tiki teaching you, taking a few, if Tiki is helping you understand his notes, I will count that as him teaching you and actually allow you to not just get half, but full proficiency in medicine. You will only be able to make these checks when Tiki is helping you.
I didn't figure these would be checks.
Nope, they will be checks, as if training. You will be able to do this, you will be able to make those checks when Tiki is helping you, so when you and him work together on that. Otherwise, you will also just make progress over time towards half proficiency. I'm effectively going to say that in order to get the proficiency in medicine, we're only going to count half proficiency, so we're going to cut the DC for it in half. And say that Tiki can help you get half proficiency through learning and through just
Through this-
field research.
Yeah, the field research will
alongside
count
him,
for the
the
half
other half.
proficiency, and the teaching will be the full.
Will count for the other.
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
So yeah, you and Tiki over the whenever you two want to get together to do things like this, he can start teaching you.
Do you mind if I make one
And-
roll for the 2 days, since they're starting like that night?
I'm perfectly fine with that. Like Tiki taking a few hours to begin your lessons.
You good with that, Sweater?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you said he started teaching you.
Just the time sync is what I'm more saying. Is he okay with? Because there is the
Hmm.
possibility that it's like, not this time, but in the future. Okay. So what do you want me to
Hmm.
roll?
I
Wisdom?
mean, it's only 10 years of medical school. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Funny enough, the thing I will
Roll,
say, sorry.
Well, just to give you what you need to roll, medicine with your plus well, I'm gonna say, are you using your wisdom or intelligence?
Wisdom, probably.
Wisdom? Okay, so in that case, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be the nice guy here. Roll the d20 with your intelligence. Don't add wisdom to it.
Okay.
That's it.
Wait, then why'd you ask if I was using wisdom?
I have my reasons.
Okay. um. Actually, wait. If he's learning from Tiki,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't Tiki always use his intelligence?
Yes, but medicine is a weird skill in the first place.
Yeah.
But just go ahead.
I already answered, so it's too late to change now. What? That is an 8.
8 is 8.
Hmm.
That is progress. That is the beginning of the proficiency. It is a start. And it will continue to rise. Like I said, once you've, whatever the DC is for medicine proficiency, cut that in half.
I don't know what it
And
is.
once you reach it, I mean, we can go and look, but it should be in the patch notes. Or rather, I can open the patch notes. I'm here.
I don't
but-
think there's a set thing for it, because you said you were setting custom DCs for the training.
There. But yes, you were going to say something. I'll get you your information. You were going to continue.
I was just gonna say, funny enough, Sweaty, with, because you did train, Alarion a little bit, before.
Only a little bit.
That's
still
why I say a
learning.
little bit. Yukine does actually have a surprising amount of experience.
Oh,
Seems like as you're noting some of these terms and some of these like scientific like procedures, it seems like he recognizes a few of them as things he's done in the past on animals just through experience. And you learn that one thing Yukine did when he was a child, and he doesn't share this very openly, but one thing Yukine did when he was a child was he would care for a lot of different animals that he found hurt or sick, and he would nurse them back to strength and then release them into the wild. He does bring up one time with a baby Arzuros, in which he was almost attacked by his mother. And he says this rather casually, like he isn't risking his life for a creature he doesn't even know. But he recounts a tale of a time he found a hurt baby Arzuros, and he, in trying to treat it, was attacked by its mother. And he jumped into a tree and used his druidic magic to calm her, and then continued to treat the baby. And they took him. Then they took him back to their den and let him pet them.
Yeah, Tiki
It's,
doesn't really have those sort of experiences because he's mostly dealt with, clinic patients and, whatever kind of tiny little lab experience that he could have done by himself.
The main reason I bring this up is, one, to note that he does have experience in this field, although he doesn't have, like, the knowledge of everything. And two, and I'm going to point this out because I feel it's rather important. This is the first time you have heard anything about Yukine's childhood. Anyone has heard anything about Yukine's childhood. And he sounds very different as a child to what you have seen now. Well, actually, is that fair to say, Sebi? Let me hand this over to God.
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
How, like, you can see, actually, what's your passive insight, Tiki?
Passive insight? That is a
13?
14.
14? Okay. With a passive insight of 13, you can tell that there are parts of his stories that sound, like you can draw a line from that to the man even if he's, like he looks like a boy, different at this point.
Like over 30.
Yeah, he's like over 30. But like you can like draw lines from the stories of his childhood to the person he is now and go, okay, well that sounds like the Yukine I know. But then you hear other parts. You hear like just those are only parts, and then you hear the rest of it. He sounds like he's so carefree and fun-loving and innocent. And you look at the person, and you look at him as he's telling these stories, and it's like, yeah, he must have been through some shit, because most of the time when you see him, has this one could say stoic, but stoic doesn't feel like the right word, as things do still affect him, and he doesn't keep the world at arm's length as well as he probably thinks he does. Things still seem to get to him and like affect him a lot, but he keeps the world at arm's length and only lets people in very infrequently. And right now he is letting you in, and you're hearing these stories of his childhood, and it kind of strikes you as like, wow, he sounds like he was a good kid and would have made a great doctor.
Tiki does smile to himself while he's going through all of it, saying all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the two of you, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Believe so. I don't think there's anything else I had to bring up.
No. I got nothing.
Yeah, no. I shared
Also, we
my...
got to see Angry Tiki.
Yeah! Also, for the first time in quite some time, you got to see a... Well, someone got to see a crying Ikane.
I know, I'm blessed.
Oh, fuck, that was...
So good.
That
so
was...
good.
That was heavy.
Yes, very incredibly, crushingly heavy.
Yeah,
In fact, my shoulders hurt.
honestly, the scene with the, where he was sharing the,
Oh, hold
His
on, let me
ex-
stretch. Oh,
the thing where he
Oh,
was
God, ow.
experiencing, where he was talking about his experience when he was trying to face what happened in the past. That hurt my soul. Like
I
when
could hear it.
when I was saying like, yeah, you see a tear roll down. Like his expression didn't change, and a tear rolled down my face.
we could hear.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it was that was a time.
Mm-hmm.
I am so fucking glad I sat in on this.
I'm glad you're glad. I'm gonna end the recording. Oh boy. Stop recording.